getting Syrian military positions soon?
No, not yet. I may have something to say later today, but I think it's not appropriate for me to comment yet. We're trying to find out all the facts.
Mr. President, on Okinawa, could you tell us some of the reasoning that went into that decision and what impact it made?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
The base in Okinawa, the reasoning that the Japanese.
Well, Secretary Perry has been working very hard on that issue to try to deal with what we think are some very legitimate concerns the people of Okinawa have about noise levels, access to land. And Japan has been a wonderful security partner to us for a long time. And they still are. They pay the highest percentage of support for American forces of any of our foreign host countries. And we thought we ought to try to work through these issues, and the Secretary has worked very hard at it, and so has the Japanese government. And so I hope we've got a good resolution here that will permit us to defend our own security interests and observe and pursue our interest in the Northern Pacific and fulfill our commitments to our Japanese allies.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. A little bit of cold, full of horse.
Get some sleep in front of
I made it around the, I ran a little today, but I got a little cold. It'll be all right.
Actually, Mr. President, you know, your taxes are going to be released today. Do you have any advice to the American people on taxes or costs?
I always try to pay them. I think that's might be my advice. I've got an accountant, and I tell him to resolve all doubt in favor of the government and go on. That's what I've been saying for 20 years now.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Look at Mary. She's coming in with the British. It's okay. Shall we let the Irish come in with the British?
Yeah. She's a great stalwart.
It's a great omen for peace.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Don't you think?
Your visit, to Northern Ireland was a tremendous success. I mean, it really did. It gave such a boost. I mean, for our, for the peace process, it really made a huge impact. And
Mary, come in.
Mr. President, do you think you're talking to the next British Prime Minister?
Excuse me?
Do you think you're talking to the next British Prime Minister?
No, that is not a diplomatic question.
If I were in his position, that's a question. Look, it's all I can do to keep up with American politics. I only hope he's talking to the next American president.
Will you be sharing ideas, Mr. President?
Yes, I'm looking forward to discussing a number of things, including obviously the Irish peace process and the process in Northern Ireland, which is very important to the United States. And I want to compliment Mr. Blair and his party. I think that the way they have proceeded in this has been very statesmanlike and very much in the interest of his nation and the cause of peace.
And similarities between your two parties as well.
I'll leave that to you.
I was saying to the President how immensely helpful people had found his visit to Northern Ireland a few months ago and what a boost it gave to the peace process, and I think that is still there and it's still helping. And I hope we can get it back on track very much.
And Mr. Blair, you'll be talking to the President about your own development of New Labour?
I think we'll be talking about many things, Jeremy.
If you give us a chance.
Quite so. And on that point.
Thank you. This is a great omen for the peace process. You've got the America's greatest Irish reporter here. How are you?
Well, you're in very good company, Mary.
Is there anything that Mr. Blair can practically do to bring about a revival of the peace talks in Ireland and the truce?
Well, he might have better ideas about that than I do. But the first thing, of course, is that there has to be an election law ratified in the Parliament. But I want to talk to him about it. We'll see what his ideas are.
Do you want all the parties to participate in the elections and to attend the forum?
Of course. I mean, we've always been for all-party talks and all-party participation. That is, all the parties that are committed to a peaceful, democratic future for Northern Ireland.
And do you think Sinn Féin are committed to a peaceful and democratic future in Northern Ireland?
We have to get back to the conversation. I've already answered more questions than I meant to.
We discussed a range of issues, including Northern Ireland, obviously, Bosnia, and then we picked up on a discussion that we'd begun in London about the problems of economic insecurity and how governments are trying to deal with what is increasingly a new and global economic situation.
What conclusions did you draw on that in comparison to New Democrat and New Labour on economic insecurity?
Both the Democrats here and the Democratic President here and New Labour are trying to ensure that in a world which is completely changed, where there's massive economic and technological challenge, bringing great insecurity in its wake, that we are equipping our people and our business for that change through education, through skills. Here, of course, is the issues of healthcare and pensions. And we discussed in some of the programs, the very imaginative programs that have been explored here as ways of ensuring that people can change jobs and have greater employability in what is a completely different labour market.
What specifics did you go into about Northern Ireland?
We obviously discussed the importance of the peace process. I expressed our thanks for the President's help in that and said how worthwhile and important his visit had been to Northern Ireland. And I reiterated very strongly the Labour Party's belief in a bipartisan approach with the Conservative Party and government, that was in the interests of pushing the peace process forward. And we discussed, obviously, the possibilities for the talks, the all-party talks getting underway, and getting underway in the right atmosphere.
And what is your assessment of that?
My assessment is that it is very, very important now that the process continues. We will have the elections, we'll have the all-party talks beginning, and it is more urgent than ever that there is a ceasefire called by the IRA so that there can be the proper participation of everyone in those peace talks, free from the threat of violence or the reversion to violence, which of course is very much in line with the principles that Senator Mitchell laid down when he produced his report upon the Northern Irish situation.
Do you really believe that there will be a...
You and Mr. Clinton are facing elections. Could you informally compare notes on your party's approaches to them?
Well, we obviously talked about the political situation in both countries, but I think the problems are very much the same. I mean, both, not just in terms of the economic insecurity I was describing, but in the breakup of community, often in family life, high levels of crime, high levels of social instability. And these are common problems that people face. And I think that all governments are going to have to respond to those challenges. And it was an interesting discussion.
Mr. Blair, how about terrorism? How about terrorism, which is so prevalent in the world, Ireland, Middle East?
Well, obviously we are both emphatically opposed to any form of terrorism and in favour of strong action by governments on a coordinated as well as individual basis to combat it. And we have particular reason for knowing how important that is in the UK, as indeed you have here in the United States. And that commitment to resolving problems by democratic and peaceful means is an absolute.
Did he congratulate you on your by-election?
Well, we didn't actually discuss the by-election, I have to say, in very great detail. No.
Did you talk about that?
We did discuss the question of the beef crisis in Britain, and he expressed obvious sympathy for the problems that were faced there, and I explained what we were trying to do in order to resolve that situation.
Did the President talk to you about his coming trip to South Korea, Japan, and Russia?
No, the question of the G7 summit was obviously there, and there are problems that have got to be resolved, which are immensely important.
Has the by-election reinforced your message that you are of the centre ground?
Yes, I believe that the by-election showed very, very clearly that we are a political force that can appeal across the classes, across the political divide, that we are a party of the centre and centre-left that is capable of uniting the country and giving Britain the type of leadership that it requires in this world of change, of huge economic and indeed social insecurity.
Could you just sum up for us briefly how you feel this whole trip has gone, both from the political and the business point of view?
Obviously, others will make their own judgment, but I think that it has been highly successful, both because of the close relationship with the United States of America and with people in the administration here, which is immensely important to Britain, and because of the reception and the interest of the business community here to the new Labour message. And that, I hope, has gone a long way to reinforcing the Labour Party as a party today that is capable of addressing the problems of the future, that's not living in the past, but has moved beyond it.